Having significant financial resources can sometimes lead to deeply traumatic experiences that leave lasting psychological scars. Imagine, for instance, the horror of being kidnapped and held for ransom, your life hanging in the balance while your loved ones scramble to gather the demanded sum. Betrayal by a trusted partner who absconds with your hard-earned wealth, leaving you penniless and heartbroken, can shatter your faith in others. Ending up behind bars due to shady business dealings, even if you believed you were operating within the law, may make you forever wary of entrepreneurial ambitions. Sudden windfalls can also spell disaster if not managed wisely. Upon receiving a massive influx of cash, some individuals spiral into self-destructive patterns of reckless hedonism, relentless partying, excessive drinking, thoughtless spending. Before they know it, everything they value has slipped through their fingers. Their money, their relationships, their health, their purpose. They left mired in despair, wondering where it all went wrong. Then there are those who attain fantastic success and wealth, only to have it all ripped away in one fell swoop by a catastrophic market crash, natural disaster, or other unforeseen calamity entirely beyond their control. The whiplash of such dramatic reversals of fortune can plunge even the most resilient into the depths of depression and hopelessness. While the specific circumstances vary, the common thread is that in each case, the presence of substantial money led to harrowing ordeals and afflictions. These experiences can ingrain a deep-seated fear of financial abundance. The subconscious mind records the lesson that wealth and prosperity invite peril, encoding beliefs like, "It is dangerous to have a lot of money," "Large sums always lead to trouble," "Money corrupts people," or "There is no point in striving for wealth when you'll just lose it all anyway." Once those limiting beliefs take root, your life will conveniently arrange itself to shield you from regaining vast riches and risking further distress. You may find you can easily attract modest sums, but anything more remains perpetually out of reach, thanks to your mind's misguided attempts to keep you safe based on your prior hardships. These are some of the primary ways our adverse experiences with money in the past can generate negative subconscious programming that, more often than not, plays out in ways that diminish our financial outcomes and overall well-being in the present. Recognizing how our histories mold our current realities is the first step to diffusing the detrimental money scripts we all carry to one degree or another. Let's take a closer look at the misguided beliefs people hold about money and how these beliefs can impact their lives. What kinds of beliefs are out there? Well, let's try to list out some of the typical flawed convictions that might be shaping your attitude towards money and financial well-being. Here are a few of the most common ones. Money isn't the most important thing in life. Why bother trying to earn more? We'll get by with what we have. After all, you have to pay for everything, so it's better to just make do. You can only get money through backbreaking labor. No matter how much you budget or plan, you will never have enough cash. If you were born poor, you will die poor. That is just your lot in life. Live within your means, even if that means living meagerly. Only thieves and criminals have money. You can make an honest buck. Money is the root of all evil. It's better to save your money for a rainy day. It's embarrassing to earn a lot of money. It's shameful to be wealthy when there are so many poor people around you. It is humiliating to negotiate prices. People might think you destitute. It is mortifying to ask for payment for your work. If you become rich, you'll turn into a selfish jerk. Everything has already been divvied up, so it's better not to stick your neck out. Money corrupts people. I may be poor, but I am proud, honest, decent, and so on. I only accept clean, untainted money. Here are some lines from an article analyzing the development of businesses. There are no easy paths to getting rich. In the end, even somewhat shady characters have to put in the hours and bust their humps to make a living, not to mention the folks who've chosen to run legitimate businesses. At first glance, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with these beliefs. After all, most of them are based on philosophical observations made by people in the course of their daily lives. If you were to follow these beliefs, you would likely lead a fairly decent and peaceful existence. However, each of these beliefs is essentially a subconscious program that determines the actual course of your life. Even if you consciously strive to improve your situation, your subconscious program is often stronger and dictates your financial circumstances. Let's take a closer look at each of these beliefs. Money ISN to the most important thing in life. Suppose your parents were staunch opponents of material wealth and dedicated their entire lives to serving something else, like science, a beloved job, art, nature, and so on. They simply believed that the main thing was to be a good person, and how much money you had didn't matter. They had money in their lives, but they didn't attach importance to the amount. For them, money truly wasn't a significant part of their existence. They often repeated this truth, which was obvious to them, to their child in the hopes that their life would be just as purposeful and filled with cherished work or creativity. But your life, unfortunately, isn't like that. You have a job, but you're not a fanatic about it. You don't have a passion for creativity or other activities. In other words, you were just living, and on a conscious level, you wish you had more money. Since you were not devoted to your work, you could theoretically work anywhere. It would seem that you could freely find a place where the job suits you and the pay satisfies you. But in reality, things don't turn out that way. You keep ending up at organizations where they squeeze you dry, yet they don't pay you, or they pay very little. You try to change jobs, but you find yourself in a similar organization again. You don't understand why you are so unlucky, even though your acquaintances find decent positions for themselves. Most likely, the culprit is that very belief hidden deep in your subconscious, that money isn't the most important thing in this life. Succumbing to its covert arguments, you choose from many possible options the one where you will either help people or do what others don't want to do, and so on. Chances are, it will be a place where the main focus is on work, assistance, compassion, keeping your word, good relationships, friends, and the like. Everything will be prioritized except money. Why waste money? The next common belief might take the form of, why waste money? It'll get by as is. You have to pay for everything, so it's better to make do with what you have. We don't need anything, so we manage. Usually, such convictions are held by elderly people who have lived a life full of deprivation and know from experience that money is earned through grueling, backbreaking labor, and that it is not worth fighting for every penny. They rather scrape by than toil until death for each coin. They re-convinced of this and pass this belief on to their children. It gets embedded deep in their children, is subconscious, and subsequently shapes their life stance. The kids want to live better. They dissatisfied with their situation, but they do nothing to improve it. They afraid to switch to a higher paying job with the risk of losing it someday. And why bother? They rather make do with less at their stable conditional place and complain about the government, politicians, local authorities, corruption, the country's collapse, low salaries, and so on. Naturally, their income and standard of living dawn to improve from this. Money is only earned through hard work. Close to the belief we just examined is the conviction that money is only obtained through arduous labor. You have to work a lot to get ahead. Only through persistent effort can you achieve anything. This belief can also be acquired in childhood from parents, and it will determine many events in life. For instance, someone with this subconscious belief might seek a well-paying job, but their subconscious will shape the events and circumstances of their life in such a way that places where money is earned easily and in large quantities will be closed off to them. They'll only be able to find jobs where they need to slave away intensely, and the pay will be more than modest. To ensure the required income, they'll have to work 2 or 3 places simultaneously. This is at the same time that their neighbors or acquaintances might be making money effortlessly and in amounts unattainable for them. Without consciously intending to, someone with this subconscious mindset will choose the types of businesses where there will be a lot of taxing and dirty, low-paying work, like repairing trucks, renovating old buildings, and so on. Paradoxically, while wanting to succeed, such a person will increase their workload until the work crushes them, because they associate prosperity with a large volume of personal labor. Count or dawn to count, there's still one to be any money. The next belief programs a certain hopelessness in fate. It's characteristic of people who have worked long and hard in life and failed to save money for old age. They tried to save something, but as a result of various cataclysms, Black Tuesdays, and restructurings, they were left with nothing. So they reconvinced that whether you count your pennies or not, there's still one to be any money. It is all pointless. Only troubles lie ahead. It is impossible to win. Doomed. And so forth. With such beliefs, naturally, they can have money. These same individuals couldn't help but pass this belief on to their offspring, thereby instilling in them a sense of hopelessness and futility regarding any efforts to improve their material circumstances. And what's the point? It is well known that if you reborn a pauper, you will die a pauper, or that it is useless to undertake anything because they'll just come and take it away anyway. No examples from life of former destitute folks becoming millionaires inspire such a person. They believe it is not for them, that everything is predetermined for them, that their future is bleak and joyless. Cut your coat according to your cloth. The following statements, similar in meaning, program a person to exist in a specific environment with a known level of consumption and don't to allow them to break free from that environment. Assertions like, cut your coat according to your cloth, or live within your means, literally impose the idea that if you an engineer or a worker, then limit the level of your aspirations and don't expect much. Don't fuss, it didn't work out anyway. Such programs are often imparted to their children by people who have struggled through life without success and, for some internal reasons, have failed to achieve real triumphs in it. As a result, a person might exert tremendous effort to find a better job, but they have an inner confidence that they deserve this position. On the contrary, they will doubt that they can get this spot. These clothes aren't for them, but for someone else, someone luckier, someone destined for a better life. And since the person lacks confidence, their chances of getting good positions are minimal. You yourself shape all the events of your life. The first principle of the methodology for shaping events tells us. So an internal program like cut your coat according to your cloth determines the course of events on the external plane. You want to earn big money through honest hard work. The following beliefs, such as only thieves and criminals have money, and you can't earn money through honest hard work, are very common among people who tried to find their place in the sun during the turbulent time of economic change. They tried but failed to achieve success due to some internal barriers like excessive honesty, fear of taking risks, a specific understanding of fairness, and so on. They gave it a shot, but nothing panned out because they were outmaneuvered by individuals who lacked such internal barriers. In fact, these successful folks probably didn't have any inner hang-ups or limitations at all. It was precisely these unencumbered people who were the first to get their bearings in the murky post-perestroika era and snatch up their piece of the pie. The rest, the losers, grew embittered and harbored resentment towards these uninhibited go-getters. As a result, the majority of people, since only a small portion of the population actually prospers, developed a firm conviction that you can make big bucks through honest labor. It is worth noting that this assertion isn't far from the truth. You can only rake in the big bucks if you engage in entrepreneurship, services, trade, advertising, manufacturing, and so on. The current criminal situation is such that it is quite difficult to get by without at least minimal violations of the current legislation, although the situation is constantly changing for the better. Consequently, any entrepreneur, one way or another, circumvents the law. From a formal point of view, they could be classified as lawbreakers, i.e., criminals. But this is only at the level of words, since most entrepreneurs have their documents arranged as required by the tax and other regulatory authorities. In other words, a person who considers themselves honest, principled, or possessing other exceptional qualities closes off their path to success in business. They not like everyone else. They honest. They'll comply with all the laws. It is clear that with such an approach, it is rather hard to run an effective business. Next to them, dishonest entrepreneurs will thrive, which will provoke internal grievances against life. But it is life, is circumstances that force them to be dishonest, not a pathological penchant for crime. Everyone wants to sleep peacefully at night, but our legislation doesn't facilitate this. And you, with your honesty, risk being left on the sidelines of life, proud of your principles and resentful of life for helping the dishonest, when in fact it is quite the opposite. All these condemnations don't mean that we urging our readers to be dishonest. Not at all. recalling for peace in the soul and the removal of judgment from those who earn their money through entrepreneurship in conditions that are poorly suited for it. It's better to save money for a rainy day. Such a misguided belief could have arisen in a person who had instances in their life when they desperately needed money but had nowhere to get it from. Thus, they found themselves in a very uncomfortable situation, and today their subconscious, against their will, tries to protect itself from a repetition of such an unpleasant state. To this end, the person, often without even pondering the reasons for their behavior, tries to set aside their income for a rainy day, restricting their already low level of consumption in every way. Parents can pass this belief on to their children, and the latter will also try to put aside part of their income. Moreover, this want to be a purposeful accumulation of money for some big purchase, but simply saving for unforeseen disasters, catastrophes, illnesses, and so on, in general, to protect themselves on a rainy day, whatever it might be. And if a person keeps this idea in their head and prepares for a possible future event long enough, in accordance with the principles of the methodology for shaping events, this very rainy day should come upon them. In fact, they themselves, with their thoughts, have drawn this event to themselves. And that is where the accumulated money will come in handy, if inflation or some other cataclysms haven to devour it earlier. From the perspective of increasing prosperity, such a conviction limits a person in their search for better opportunities. Why bother? Anyway, life won't get any better because the money will have to be stashed away. It doesn't bring joy, and there is no point in hustling to obtain it. On a conscious level, this thought is usually not tracked, but in reality, it restricts a person's initiative and decisiveness. Why fuss if things want to improve anyway? Unless the rainy day comes a bit sooner. But is that something to strive for? It's shameful to receive large sums of money. If someone stands out from the masses, they need to be put in their place, made just like everyone else. As a result, many people develop the idea that you can differ too much from others, especially in terms of consumption levels. You demand a lot for yourself when there are so many poor and sick people around you. You can even desire a higher salary for yourself. It's shameful to be rich, and so on. This belief has a particularly negative impact on people engaged in entrepreneurship. A person provides services to other people but is embarrassed to charge the necessary amount for them. They know how much they need to charge but are ashamed to do it. As a result, internal discomfort arises. Why work for nothing? The distress over the income situation accumulates and worsens even more. If a person, due to circumstances such as fixed rates, still takes the necessary payment, they try to get rid of some of the money, somehow distribute it to people through educational programs, preferential services, and so forth. And it is shameful to have a lot of money when there are so many needy, homeless, or destitute people around. As a result, their income doesn't grow and often even falls, leading to the emergence of debts and other problems. If they manage to earn money, they become a benefactor for their relatives, loved ones, and acquaintances. They buy them apartments, give them funds to develop their businesses, pay for their children, education in expensive educational institutions, and so on. In general, they try to ensure that those people live the same way they do, even though only they know how to earn money. Everyone knows how to spend it. Such a situation usually doesn't last long. On the one hand, the needs of relatives grow, and there is not much gratitude from them. On the other hand, income should fall because the person themselves doesn't need the money. They are ashamed of it, and it leaves them no matter what efforts they make to obtain it. This is a common situation among Russian entrepreneurs who managed to earn big money at the beginning of perestroika. Having earned it, they began actively giving it away. And today, they have no money, and all their efforts to earn it don't yield results. The person doesn't understand what the matter is here. Old connections, knowledge, qualifications, and much more. But there is no money. Perhaps the reason for this is precisely the unconscious erroneous belief that it is not good to be rich. If a person earns money again, they once more distribute it to those who need it but can earn it themselves. But life doesn't need such a benefactor at all, since they disrupt the processes that determine the level of comfort of our existence. What are your thoughts on this? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. If you found this video useful, please like it and subscribe to the channel. There are more videos on this channel that will help you become a better version of yourself.